Good afternoon, Dr. Jones and fellow students. My name is Michael Hill. What if I told you that the greatest attack on America was not from foreigners, but Americans attacking America, but Americans attacking Americans? I'm here today to talk to you about thousands. I'm here today to talk about thousands of minority citizens in Tulsa, Oklahoma being murdered, better known as Black Wall Street. I was selected to speak about this topic because I have relatives who was there during this time. Today I will speak to you about the rise of Black Wall Street, the events that led up to the attacks, and the end results. Black Wall Street, the name fitting to one of the most affluent Black communities in America, was bombed from the air and burned to the ground by mobs of envious whites. In a period spanning fewer than 12 hours, a once thriving Black business community district in northern Tulsa lay smothering in the community destroyed and a major African American economic movement resoundingly refused. Excuse me. The night's carnage left more than 3,000 African Americans dead, over 600 successful businesses burned down, and almost 21 churches gone. 30 restaurants and 2 grocery stores, along with 2 movie theaters, just leveled, plus a hospital, a bank, a post office, and much other things. As I could have expected, the impetus behind all this was led by the Ku Klux Klan, working in consortment with ranking city officials and many other sympathizers. The best description of Black Wall Street, or Little Africa as it was called then too, was known to compare to a mini Beverly Hills. It was the golden door of a Black community during the 1900s, and it proved that African Americans could create a successful infrastructure that was Black Wall Street, period. The dollar in Black Wall Street circulated 36 times to 100. Like today, the dollar today only circulates maybe 1 or 2 times in the community. There, in that small community, it circulated 36 times, meaning the money's just stayed in that community. As for resources, there were doctors in Little Africa, there were Black attorneys, and the average income was $5 a day. Opposed to now, a lot of people barely make $200 a day, basically with minimum wage. It was a time when the entire state of Oklahoma had only 2 airports, yet Black Wall Street owned their own airplanes and their own airport. It was a very fascinating community. The mainstay of the community was to educate every child. And that was the need to, and that was we needed to get back to. The main thoroughfare was Greenwood Avenue and Archer and Pine. If you guys heard the song "You Dropped That Bomb on Me" by the Gap Band, well, the Gap is initial for Greenwood, Archer, and Pine. Like those guys grew up in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so "You Dropped the Bomb on Me" was actually the song meaning for that. Black Wall Street was a prime example of a typical Black community that did business, but it was an unusual location. You see, at the time, Oklahoma was set to be a Black and Indian state. There were over 28 Black townships there. 1/3 of the people who traveled in the terrifying Trails of Tears. You guys might know Oklahoma Trails. Trails of Tears alongside the Indians between 1830 and 1842 were Black people. The citizens of this proposed Indian and Black state chose a Black governor, a Black treasurer from Kansas named McDade. But the Ku Klux Klan said that if he assumed office, that he would kill him within 48 hours. The community was so tight and wealthy, because they traded dollars hand in hand because they were dependent upon one another as a result of the Jim Crow laws. It was not unusual for the residents' homes to actually be burned down, and it would be rebuilt within a week. So the Klan would come in and like burn their house down. Within a week, the house would get built right back up because the community was so tight-knit. This was the type of scenario that was going on day to day on Black Wall Street. When the blacks intermarried with the Indian culture, some of them received their promise 40 acres and a mule, and with that came whatever oil was later found on properties. On Black Wall Street, a lot of global business was conducted. So imagine, you guys heard the whole time the 40 acres and a mule that was promised to the blacks. So when the blacks and Indians married each other, like I stated, they got that land. So Oklahoma is rich in oil, so once you're on that property, you own what's on the land. So not only was it a rich community, it was oil-based. And that's something that America didn't really like, because blacks owned oil back then. The community flourished in the early 1900s until June 1st, 1921. That's when the largest massacre of non-military Americans in the history of this country took place. The Ku Klux Klan led it. So imagine walking outside your door and all you see is 50,000 homes on fire. That was what's going on there. You must have survivors we interviewed, think the whole thing was planned, because during the time that all the things was going on, white families with their children stood around the borders of the town and watched all this to happen. A lot of white folks had come back from World War I and they were poor. So when they looked and saw Black Wall Street, this community just flourishing, they felt kind of jealous, you know. So a lot of that helped trigger what was going on for us, how the riots had started. But that was just like one of the reasons why the riots had started. It cost the black community everything, and not a single dime of restitution, no insurance claim has been awarded to the victims of this death. I'm about to get into what really happened with Black Wall Street. All right. The events that led up to the riots. It was said that a gentleman that went to one of the downtown buildings, and he was an elevator student. Right? He worked there for many years, and a white lady comes to the elevator. Well, the white lady, when she steps inside the elevator, she kind of trips. She kind of tripped. And so with her tripping, the gentleman had kind of caught her, trying to hold her up. But being a black guy pulling on a white woman, when the elevator door opened up, she started screaming rape. So he jetted from the elevator and went back to the community. Well, they later said they was going to have a lynching. They were looking for him. And, so the white mob just pretty much came to Black Wall Street. They attacked him through the air. In airplanes, they dropped Molotov cocktails throughout the whole city, which basically just burned Black Wall Street up. At the end of the day, it was 3,000 minorities. I don't want to say black because there were Indians also. And there were some white people too that got killed. At the end of the day, it was 3,000 people that died. The whole area was just leveled. So, in conclusion, after the Tulsa riot, the white inhabitants tried to buy black property and force the black people out of town. But no bank in Tulsa would lend them money to own that area. Yeah. However, racial pride and self-determination would not permit the Greenwood owners to sell, and they spent the entire winter in tents, but later came back and rebuilt that following, when the weather broke the following summer. Wow. Any questions?
Based
I thank you for your time. Thank you.